Good morning, dear students. Welcome back to our lesson, that is how do organisms reproduce. So, we have seen various topics related to this topic, related to this lesson, that is how do organisms reproduce. Here I have tried to cover the concept of reproduction, the importance of reproduction, okay, then DNA copying, then importance of variation. After it, we have seen types of asexual reproduction, in that budding in hydra, budding in yeast, as well as regeneration in planaria, fragmentation in spirogyra. So various things, spore formation we have seen, binary fission in amoeba, binary fission in leishmania, and multiple fission in plasmodium bacteria, which causes kala azar. So everything we have tried to cover, and as I said you, there are two types of reproduction, that is after it we have seen vegetative propagation also, okay, artificial vegetative propagation and natural vegetative propagation also we have tried to cover. And after it, the important part is coming, that is sexual reproduction in the flowering plants. As I said you, plants possesses both the kinds of reproduction, that is sexual type of reproduction and asexual type of reproduction. Both modes they are following. So we have tried to cover asexual type of reproduction. Now we shall move for the sexual type of reproduction, which is possessed by the plants. Okay, so which part into the plant the which followed the sexual type of reproduction? So the answer of this question is the part which is following the sexual type of reproduction is mostly flower. Mostly means every time. Flower is the most conspicuous, reproductive and the attractive part of the plant which undergoes the process of sexual reproduction. See your students, while explaining you the difference between sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction, I said you sexual reproduction requires two partners, or two partners contains two gametes, right? Two partners means male and female partner is required. If female partner is there, then in female contains egg cell, and if the male partner is there, then it contains sperm cell. So in human being also, male contains sperm cell and female contains egg cell, that we are knowing. So here also in the plant there are two sex cells, sperm cell and egg cell. So where it is exactly present? So mostly the parts of the flower, if you will try to see, you can see here the picture of the flower, which is really very beautiful, which is really very have a very attractive color. So here one by one I am going to discuss about the parts of a flower. So we will have focus more on the important part of the flower, that is gynoecium, means it is also called as a pistil, okay, or it is also called as a pistil because this is playing an important role. This pistil is also called as a carpel too. So it is called as a gynoecium, pistil or carpel, that is the female reproductive part, because everything, all reproduction process in the flower is going to take place into this gynoecium. Okay, gynoecium it is also called gynoecium, pistil or your carpel. These all names are giving for the female reproductive part. So before going ahead for the fertilization process, we will try to learn about the other parts of the flower. Okay, so students, there are two kinds of flower. There are two kinds of flower. Which are those? If the flower contains both sex cells or both sex organs, then such flower is called as a bisexual flower. So this concept is also very important in your textbook on page number 134. It is given, you have to read also after it. So in 134 it is given that, or why given, it is there in everywhere. If the flower contains two gametes or two parts of the plant which are very important for the fertilization process, that is stamen is also called as a androecium. Stamen is the male reproductive part, which is also called as a androecium, and female reproductive part is called as a gynoecium. Students, you are knowing gynecologist, female doctor, है ना, female doctor is called as a, female doctor means female, about female everything the doctors are knowing, that is called as a gynecologist, okay, specialist in the females. So that is called as a gynecologist. So here also the part into the flower which is female, that is called as a gynoecium. That gynoecium is also called as a pistil, okay, or carpel. This part is also called as a carpel. So three names are given: gynoecium, carpel or pistil. And for male reproductive part, stamen and androecium names are given. So one by one we are going to talk. So if the plant contain both the male and the female reproductive part, then such plant is called as a bisexual flower, okay. If the plant, if the flower contain both stamen and a carpel, or a stamen and a pistil, or a stamen and a gynoecium, or a androecium and a gynoecium, both the parts are present, then such flower is called as a bisexual flower. And example is hibiscus. Hibiscus means the shoe flower. Shoe flower means we are knowing, है ना, we use jaswanda, we say in Marathi, okay. So that reddish color, nowadays various colors are coming in that. So mostly hibiscus or mustard plant, rye we use, okay, while sorting our food. So that hibiscus and mustard is a very good example for the bisexual flower. If both the reproductive parts are present into the same flower, then such flower is called as a bisexual flower. But sometimes what happens, only one sex cell is also present, either male sex cell or female sex cell is also present in one flower. Only one sex cell is present. If only one part of the one part of the flower is present, that is either androecium or gynoecium is present into the flower, then such flower is called as a unisexual flower. An example of it is papaya. Papaya is the example. So students, this question is very very important for you. It may ask in the exam that differentiate between bisexual flower and unisexual flower. So here are three differences, students. One difference is that this flower contains both part of the plant which are important, okay, or both sex cells are present, that is female sex cell and the female sex cell, that is egg cell, and the male sex cell, that is a sperm cell, is present into the sperm cell, means the pollen grain is present into the flower, okay, means stamen and carpel both parts are present, so that this flower is called as a bisexual flower, okay. And unisexual flower is what? Only carpel, either carpel or stamen is present, so that such flowers are called as a unisexual flower. This is your first point. Second point is an example. Example of a bisexual flower is what? Hibiscus. An example of a hibiscus or mustard. An example of a unisexual flower is what? Papaya. And the third I am going to give you, that is yet you have not learned, but very soon in ahead we are going to learn about that. Here in bisexual flower, mostly self-pollination is taking place. So this is the third most very very important point, that bisexual flowers follows self-pollination method, okay, and unisexual flower follows always cross-pollination method. What is the reason? Because both sex cells or both sex organs are present, so that fertilization is going to take place in a same flower, and so that if the fertilization is going to be takes place in a same flower, then why it is going to be takes place? Because pollination can takes place in a same flower. So this is third most important point. So once again I would like to repeat for you that bisexual flower means stamen and carpel both are present. Unisexual flower means what? Either stamen or carpel is present. Example in a bisexual flower is hibiscus or mustard. Example of a unisexual flower is papaya, okay. And bisexual flower follows the it follows the self pollination method, and unisexual flower always follows the cross pollination method. So here your one question of 2 marks is getting over. Okay, so we will talk about the parts of a flower. Students, you can see here in this picture down, there is a structure in which we are holding the flower, we are holding the flower in our finger with the help of this structure, and that is called as a pedicel. Okay, that is called as a pedicel, or thalamus also it can be said. Okay, means all the floral arrangement, the upper all floral arrangement is accumulated into that part, and that is called as a thalamus or pedicel. Okay, in Marathi we can say that date. Okay, ते फ्लावरचं जे देठ असतं खाली, that is called as a pedicel or the thalamus. From down we are starting. So after it you can see the one part of the flower which is the sepal like structure, actually, which is the sepal like structure. That sepal like structure means the that is the lowermost thing of a flower, lowermost. So into the flower, it is the outermost wall, outermost wall consisting of sepals. Understood? Calyx is the part which is the outermost wall consisting of a sepal. This sepal means what? The petal like structure only present. Okay, this is petal like structure only present, which is greenish in color, which protects the flower into the bud condition. And even in the floral condition also, these sepals are protecting the internal parts. Okay, all the internal parts, that is mostly the ovary or the ovule is present, which is the part of the female reproductive part, and that part is protected by this calyx. Calyx contains sepals, and these sepals are greenish in color. In some extent, these sepals are working for the photosynthesis process, means these are functioning like photosynthesis process also, because these are green in color. So it contains some chlorophyll pigments which undergo the process of photosynthesis. Means these sepals are looking like petals only, and this is the outermost wall of the flower which is protecting the flower into the bud condition, as well as it is protecting the important part, important female reproductive part, that is ovary. Ovary contains ovule. Okay, here fertilization is going to be takes place and the new flower or the new fruit is going to be formed. So this part is mostly protected by the calyx. So this is the outermost part of the plant which is consisting of the sepals, and these sepals are green and a leaf like structure, or we can say this is a petal like structure also, and this calyx protects the flower into the bud condition. So this is the important part which is protecting the flower. Okay, actually here are two main parts into the flower, which are essential parts and the non-essential part. Essential part means what? Which are actually taking part into the sexual reproduction, and the non-essential part means these parts are not taking part into the sexual reproduction actually, but these parts are enhancing the process of the sexual reproduction. So such parts are called as a non-essential part. So here are two non-essential parts are there. Out of it, calyx is the non-essential part, which is actually the work like a protection. Understood? So calyx is the non-essential part of the flower. Okay, so I hope you understand, students, the importance of the calyx into the part of the flower. After it, student, there is one more important part into the flower. Okay, or into the flower, that part is called as a corolla, and this corolla is consist of the petals. This is the after sepal or after calyx, the next wall is coming. That wall is called as a corolla. Okay, which is made up of petals. Okay, the flower always has a attractive color. Flowers always have a attractive color. Means two things flower has. Either it has a fragrance or it has an attractive color. Red, yellow, blue, various types of colors are present into the flower. So this flower has either attractive color or a fragrance. This fragrance, so the question can be asked, why the flower has a attractive color or a fragrance. So this color and the fragrance is only to attract the insect for pollination. This is the reason, students. So this also you have to note down, why flower has a attractive color and a sweet smell or a fragrance. This is only designed to attract the insect for the pollination. So the next part, which is attractive part, and because of it only the reproduction process starts, that part is called as a corolla, which is consisted of the petals, which are attractive in color. Okay, these petals are generally large, colored and showy, and corolla attract insects for the pollination. This is the main function of the corolla and the calyx. So this calyx and corolla are non-essential part into the flowering plant, okay, or of the flower also we can say. It is not necessary always, because flowering plant means what? Flowering plant means what? Angiosperm. Students, last year in class 9 we have learned angiosperm and the gymnosperm. Angiosperm means what? Which contains which has a seed which is covered by the flower. Understood? And gymnosperm means what? The naked seed. So angiosperm means what? The flowering plant. Okay, and gymnosperm means what? Non-flowering plant, because its seed is not covered with the flower or the fruit. Or angiosperm means what? Its seed is covered with the floral part. So angiosperm and gymnosperm, you are quite well known in class 9 in diversity in living organisms. So I hope you have understood the difference between angiosperm and the gymnosperm. So this is the second most non-essential part of the flowering plant. Okay, so we will go for the next essential part of the flowering. So after it, so students, it is coming the essential part of the flowering plant, or the essential part of the flower, which is called as a androecium, which is also called as a stamen. Okay, and the stamen is composed of 2-3 things. See here, students, just now I showed you flowering one flower of hibiscus. In that, the last or the outermost valve was what? Sepal, or that is called as a calyx too. After is the attractive part is what? That part is called as a corolla. Okay, that corolla is consist of petals which are attractive in nature, and after it there is one more male reproductive part, and that male reproductive part is called as a androecium. It is the third valve inner to corolla, consisting of a male reproductive part, is called as a stamen. Okay, stamen is a part of a male reproductive system. Okay, and each stamen has 2 parts, filament and anther. See, the wire-like structure is present into the flower. You can see here. See here, students. You can see here the yellow color. Okay, the yellow color filamentous structure you can see. This is greenish in color at the middle. That is called as a ovary. Okay, I am going to talk you at the middle. There is one greenish like structure, that is ovary. Okay, and that whole part is greenish whole from top to the bottom. There is a green part. That whole green part is called as a gynoecium, that is female reproductive part. But you can see here there is one part into the plant which is yellow in color. Okay, at the top, this is the bilobed structure. I am going to make a separate video on it, so in that it will be more clearer for you. There is a structure, separate structure, which is joined to one wire-like structure. That wire-like structure is called as a filament, and up to it there is a bilobed structure. That part is called as a anther. So stamen has mostly, or the male reproductive part or the androecium has mainly 2 parts. Stamen has mainly 2 parts. The upper one, yellowish color, you can see here in the diagram, that is called as a stamen. That is called as a anther, which is bilobed, and down yellow color wire-like structure is there, that is called as a filament. Okay, so here I am going to explain you detail the importance of this stamen part. Okay, so each anther is a lobed structure. Lobed means two lobes are present. Okay, anther is lobed structure present in the tip of the filament. Each anther has a pollen sac. Okay, and this pollen sac are called as a microsporangia. Students, keep in mind this pollen sacs which are present into the anther. This pollen sacs are called as a microsporangia, and this contain the pollen grains. These pollen grains are called as a microspores. Okay, students. So whenever we are touching to the hibiscus plant, at the top of it, the yellow color sticky part you can see. If you will try to touch to the hibiscus flower, then these pollen grains may stick to your hand. Understood? These are sticky. It may stick to your hand, and such that small grain like structure is there which is yellow in color. Those are called as a pollen grains. These are also called as a microspores. And in the sacs, the anther is a bilobed structure. In that bilobed structure, the small cavities are present. Okay, bowl like structure is present, and that bowl like structure contains that bowl like structure is called as a microsporangia, and in that small pollen grains are present. Those pollen grains are called as a microspores. I hope you understood all these things. So each pollen grain, see, it is very important thing that each pollen grain, every pollen grain has two male gametes or two male germ cell. It's more important. When we will go ahead in the fertilization process, you will understand what is the function of this two male germ cell. Every pollen grain contains two male sex cell or a two male germ cells. So this is important thing to understand, that this androecium is composed of anther and filament. Anther is a bilobed structure, and this bilobed structure contains cavity like structure. That cavity like structure is called as a pollen sac. It is also called as a microsporangia, and this microsporangia contains the small structures. Those structures are called as a pollen grains or microspores. Okay, and every pollen grain has two germ cells. Okay, so I hope you understand the androecium. After it, students, there is one more very important part of the flower. In this only the fertilization is going to be takes place, and that part is called as a pistil, carpel or gynoecium. Okay, that part is a swollen part which is present into the base of the flower, and that part is called as a ovary. So gynoecium is mainly made up of three parts, that are ovary, style and stigma. See, this is the fourth and innermost wall, because see here, this part is protected properly. See, calyx was outside, corolla was outside, but this part, that is gynoecium part, is kept inside and protected very properly or very carefully. Why it is so? Because this part of the plant is going to regenerate. This part of the plant is going to reproduce, and so that this part is kept very carefully, very properly inside the flower. So this is the fourth and innermost wall consisting of carpel. So carpel is present in the center of the flower. Okay, and each carpel has a three parts. Students, you can see down there is one part, swollen part, that is called as a ovary, and the middle one, filamentous like structure is present. Okay, that filamentous structure, that is for what? For transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. Okay, so from after coming into the stigma, that part, that pollen grain has to travel towards the ovary. Understood, students? I hope you understand. Wherever the pollen grains will stick to the stigma, then through stigma that pollen grain has to travel towards the ovary. So that, so that this is also the filamentous like structure, and that is called as a style. Okay, and above style there is one velvety structure. Even you in the hibiscus flower you can see there is a velvety structure, and that velvety structure which is little bit sticky also. Why it is sticky? So whenever the pollen grain would come and would attach to the stigma, it should not go off again, it should not move from there, so that it is sticky. Means once the pollen grain would will be there, then it has to enter into the ovary, it must not be go out again, so that this stigma is always sticky. See students, you can keep in mind with the very simple example, sticky stigma. Okay, and below stigma the wire like structure or the filament like structure which is standing in a style, that is called as a style. Just kidding students. So that is called as style, and below it there is a structure that is called as a ovary. So ovary is a swollen and the basal part of the carpel. Okay, at the end of the gynoecium there is a swollen part called as a ovary, and each ovule in a embryo sac that bears a haploid egg. Students, here haploid and diploid structure must be clear. As it is ovary, so this contains egg cell, means the female gamete is present. Understood? Haploid means what? See, we have a 23 pairs of chromosomes. Understood? We have a 23 pairs of chromosomes. Means diploid structures we have 23 pairs of chromosomes. But whenever before fertilization, whenever there is only one sex cell, okay, if there is only one sex cell, either male sex cell or the female sex cell, so male sex cells will have a only single set of chromosome. Okay, and that single set of chromosome is called as a haploid egg. Okay, means only 23 chromosomes are present. Okay, not 46. If 46 would be there, then that is called as a diploid egg. Okay, haploid means what? Half number of chromosome. Haploid means simply half number of chromosome. Okay, so haploid chromosome means half number of chromosome, means only one cell. Even in human beings, if only female sex cell would be there, then female sex cell will have a haploid number of chromosomes, means only 23 chromosomes would be there, and a male will have a 23, and whenever it will coming together, this 23 and this 23, then diploid structure is forming. So haploid means what? The only 23. Okay, only 23 chromosomes would be there, then it is called as a haploid. Okay, so female gamete with the haploid egg. Okay, and when it will be diploid? When the pollen grain would come, which contains nucleus, would come and will unite to the female egg cell, then it will convert into the diploid cell. I hope you understand. Style is the middle part of the carpel. Okay, it has a stigma above it and ovary below it. Ovary below it. So stigma is the apical, means which is at the top of the this carpel part. Okay, stigma is the apical part of the carpel. It receives the pollen grain, and this stigma is velvety. I said you, this is velvety and sticky. So here I have tried to complete all 4 parts of the flower, that is calyx, which is consist of sepals, then corolla, which is consist of petals, and these petals are playing, see, every part is playing an important role. Calyx, which is greenish in color, it is not only protecting the flower, but somehow it is also playing an important role in the photosynthesis too, as it is greenish in color. So what happens? It is following photosynthesis too and protecting the inside inner all wall of the flower. Protecting it properly. Even in a bud condition, this part is bigger in size in a bud condition, so it is protecting the flower in a bud condition too. After it, corolla. Corolla is composed of what? Corolla is composed of attractive petals. Okay, and these petals are attractive, or the flower has a fragrance for what? Pollination, to attract the insects for the pollination. So this is designed for it, and after that, very important part of the plant of the flower, flowering plant we can say, or the flower, that is called as a androecium, that is also called as a stamen. This stamen is consist of what? Anther and the filament. This anther is a bilobed structure, and this bilobed structure contains a cavity like structure that is called as a pollen sac or the microsporangia, and this microsporangia contains small pollen grains that are called as a microspores, and every pollen grain has a 2 nucleus. Okay, and after it gynoecium is the female reproductive part into the plant, which is swollen, that is called as a ovary. Okay, this ovary contains ovule. Now what is exactly the structure of ovule? What is present into the ovule? We are going to see. See a structure, this is the structure of ovule. You can see very carefully, this structure is of ovule. So whenever the pollen grains are entering, then there is one part, chalaja. See, in the fertilization, specifically the fertilization process, I am going to make a separate video. In that I shall explain you chalaja. But now we shall see the structure of ovule. Means inside the ovary there is a ovule, and this ovule contains egg cell. So how it is designed? See here, in a ovule, totally you can see here down there are 3 cells, okay, which contains nucleus also. At the middle there is only 1 cell, but actually these are 2 cells. Means these are actually 2 haploid cells, 2 in number. Okay, why these are 2 in number? Because these actually cell is 1. Means cell is 1. It has 2 nucleus, but these 2 nucleus or 2 cells are not divided. Okay, at the time of the cell division, these 2 nucleus are not divided properly. So there are 2 n number. If the one set of the chromosome will be there, then that is called as a haploid, and that is denoted by single n. So here this middle one portion, that is secondary nucleus, is always denoted by 2n, because 2 haploid cells are present over here. Means 2 cells are present, but these are joined to each other during cell division. These are not completely divided. At the apical portion, these are joined to each other, and so that this is called as a secondary nucleus, or it is also called as a 2 polar nuclei, which is denoted by number 2n. Okay, and after it, at the top of it, you can see, means below chalaja, you can see there are 3 small cells. Okay, these are 3 small nucleus or cells along with the nucleus are present. These 3 cells are not at all taking part into this sexual reproduction. These are called as antipodals, and these are working like just a protection. These are working like just a protection. In future I am going to explain you the function of it. This is called as the endosperm too. This is going to be explained in further video. So that is called as an upper side, there are, you can see 3 cells. Okay, these are called as antipodals. So total how many cells are present now, students? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 cells are present. Okay, so 7 cells are present into the ovule, but nucleus are 8. Why nucleus are 8? Because at the middle there is a secondary nucleus, that is actually 2 cells, I said you, but these are joined to each other. These are not separated during cell division, and so that this cell is considered to be 1, but its nucleus are 2. So total 7 cells are present into the ovule, and 8 nucleus are present. So keep in mind, at the middle whatever secondary nucleus is present, that is called as a 2 polar nuclei, because 2 nuclei are there, only it has not detached in during cell division. So 2 nuclei are present, which is denoted by 2n number. Okay, if one n number would be there, then it is haploid. If 2 nucleus are there, then it is 2n. Okay, which is called as a 2 polar nuclei. This is called as also 2 polar nuclei. And upper 3 are called as antipodals. These are only working like a protection. These are not doing anything else, or these are not the part of the sexual reproduction into the flowering plant. Below it there are 3 cells. At the middle, whatever cells is going to be takes place, that is most important cell, and that is called as a egg cell. Okay, which is going to be fused with the male sex cell, that is pollen grain, which contains nucleus. Okay, so that with that pollen grain, see, pollen grain also there are 2 cells, right? In a pollen grain there are 2 nucleus. So out of this, with the 1 nucleus, this middle one egg cell is going to be fused, and then the fusion would be there, and then the fertilization is going to be takes place. And beside this egg, there are 2 small cells are there, that are called as a synergids. These synergids are actually providing the nutrition for the egg cell. Otherwise, there is no function of these synergids. These synergids are only providing the nutrition to the main egg cell. That's it, students. So chalaja is the opening actually. Chalaja is the opening. Then after it, antipodals. Antipodals means what? These are 3 cells with 3 nucleus. These are not taking part into the sexual reproduction. These are only for the protection. At the middle there are actually 2 nucleus, but it is considered to be 1 cell, and 2 nucleus are not detached, so it is considered to be 1 cell, which is denoted by 2n number, because 2 sets of chromosomes are present, and this is called as a secondary nucleus, or 2 polar nuclei also it can be said. After it, it is embryo sac, and this embryo sac is covered by one coating, that is called as a outer integument, and the inner covering is called as a inner integument. Okay, and a micropyle is the structure through which the pollen grain is along with the pollen tube. Students, pollen grain always forms a pollen tube, and through that pollen tube only the pollen grain is entering into the ovary through the small hole. That small hole is called as a micropyle. I hope you understand the structure of ovule. Now here, students, just now we have seen the structure of ovule, means this is the female sex cell, that is called as a gynoecium. Gynoecium has ovaries, style and stigma, and this ovary contains ovule. So we have seen just now the structure of ovule, okay, which contains 7 cells but 8 nucleus. Okay, so now I am going to explain you the structure of a pollen grain. See here, students, this pollen grain has outer coating which is very stiff and which can survive for long time. Understood? So pollen grains, whenever transfer during process of pollination, even it is not fertilized, but that pollen grains can remain for long time. These pollen grains can only be burned properly, otherwise pollen grains can remain. So only through water or through air the pollen grains can go for long distance and can fertile, because these are more fertile, and this outer covering is very hard. It has been said somewhere that it's the most hardest substance on the earth, the outer covering. We don't feel it, but it's a hard coating, and that hard coating is called as a exine. The outer coating of this pollen grain is called as a exine, and the inner coating of this pollen grain is called as a intine. So keep in mind, students. And this pollen grain, just now I said you, every pollen grain has a 2 nucleus. Okay, out of that the 1 nucleus is called as a generative cell, and the second nucleus is called as a vegetative nucleus. Because the generative cell means what? That this nucleus is only going to meet to the egg cell. Students, there is a very nice story ahead going to come into the fertilization. This fertilization process into the flowering plant is quite interesting to learn. Really, double fertilization, triple fusion is quite interesting to learn. What exactly happens, that we are going to see very soon. But here I would like to just know you the structure of a pollen grain. In your NCERT textbook it is not given, or structure of ovule is also not completely given properly, but it is very important to know you that the structure of a pollen grain. So here is, you can see in the picture, generative cell. Generative cell means what? This See, I said you pollen grain has a 2 nucleus. Out of that, one nucleus is going to meet to the egg cell, is going to fuse with the egg cell, which is properly egg cell. And whenever this cell, this nucleus from the pollen grain will meet to the egg cell, that is called as a fertilization process. And that after this fertilization only the flower or the fruit is going, further fruit is going to be formed, or the seed is going to be formed. Understood? So the thing or the cell which is going to meet to the egg cell, that cell is called as a generative cell. And what is the function of this vegetative nucleus? We will see later, which is really quite interesting to learn or to know about this vegetative nucleus, that that will be the essence of the double fertilization. Understood? So I hope you understand the structure of pollen grain also. This pollen grain has a outer covering called exine, the inner covering called intine, and there is one generative nucleus, or this is called as a generative cell, and other generative nucleus is only going to fuse with the egg cell. And the vegetative nucleus, what it is going to do, that we will see later. So I really thank you very much. So now students, we have seen the structure of ovule and the structure of pollen grain. So now what happens exactly in the fertilization process, that we will see. So fertilization is the fusion of a male and a female gamete to form a zygote. Okay, this fertilization is not only going to be takes place into the flower, it is going to be takes place into the human beings also. So human beings we will study later, but this part is common. There is also zygote formation, there is also male sex cell, there is also female sex cell. So here I would like to know you. So fertilization is the process of fusion of a male and female gamete which takes place into the embryo sac, means where? Into the ovule. Ovule contains embryo sac. Embryo sac means what? The outer covering of the ovule is, this is that embryo sac. In that embryo sac or in that ovule, the all fertilization process is going to be takes place. Okay, embryo sac is present into the ovule itself. So after pollination, the pollen grains germinates on the stigma by producing pollen tube. Germination means what? The process of formation of seed to seedling, that is called as a germination. So pollen grains germinate on the stigma by producing pollen tube. The nucleus into the pollen tube divides into two male gametes. So this process here I have to explain you through in simple diagram, so I shall make a separate video on it. So pollen, the nucleus into the pollen tube divides into two male gametes. Pollen tube germinates the stigma and passes through the style and enters the ovule through micropyle. Just now I said you. It releases two male gametes in the embryo sac. One gamete fuses with the egg cell and the second male gamete fuses with the two polar nuclei at the middle. So here I will explain you double fertilization, triple fusion and single fertilization method. In that it will be more clearer for you. So this fertilization process is get over, means the fusion of a male and female gamete, okay, to form a zygote is called as a fertilization. So mostly they ask you fertilization process, but students they may ask you double fertilization, triple fusion process, or what is meant by triple nuclei, what is the structure of ovule, what is the structure of a pollen grain. So it's very important to know you all. So here I would like to finish this lecture now. In my further lecture I shall explain you pollination process and the fertilization process. Thank you very much.